Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Non-Reality, and in today's video, I am making a little overview of all the monster zone changes that have happened in the recent patch notes. Now, these zone changes are actually really cool because it made it so a lot more zones are actually pretty profitable. So, like, if you're not that area where you want to farm like Dekia Thornwood, you do have other options now. And even if you do farm Dekia Thornwood, these are some other options that you can do now, just to change it up a bit while you're grinding your silver. So let's go through this real quick. So we have Crypt of Wrestling Thoughts. Now this spot mainly was just for getting your outfit, the Orzeka outfit, and also Deboreka belt, along with the merchant ring piece from this area. But now they have changed a bunch of things, and it actually seems pretty decent for loot. So they raised the AP cap of the zone. With that, they also raised the monster maximum HP of monsters to 27% more. Now, we'll have to do some testing on this, but it does kind of seem like they raised the AP, but they raised the HP like the same amount, so you'll feel like you're doing the same damage. But I guess it's just like a higher overall cap. So like if you're not as geared, you can't do it and hit like the maximum cap as a more geared player. Basically, they're just raising the cap overall, so you have to be a little bit more geared to do these spots. That's what it seems like to me, at least. So now they increase the number of junk loot for a bunch of the mobs. So the beast trainer, the chaser, the condemner, the champion, the mage, those are like the normal ones. They're going from 3 to 4 to 4 to 5, so that's, a one trash increase, nothing too bad there. And then we have the bear spear maiden and the wolf spear maiden. These are the two legendaries in the area. They went from 30 to 40 to 30 to 100. That's pretty nice. And then we have the Dark Knight and Raznal. Those are the two bosses that spawn. Go from 50 to 100 to 100 to 200. Then, with above changes to more junk loot, the effective Aegis has been changed as follows. The amount of Aegis consumed when defeating the below monsters has been changed from 55 to 65, or to 66. Although, you don't really use Aegis here either way because it isn't very great. The Aegis does not apply to the elites or the bosses. And then we have the increase of probability of Deboreka belt. So they're actually increasing the drop rate of the Deboreka belt, which is really nice. I've already seen people in streams and whatnot getting a lot more belts along with necks, which we'll look at later. So that is really nice to actually farm the Deboreka belt, not have to spend so much time actually doing it. Next up, we have Olin's Valley. Now, same thing here. They did the AP increase with the HP increase. And then we got the junk loot. We got the Boulder Golem, Rock Golem, and Indomitable Golem from 3 to 3 to 4. We have the Golem's left arm from 3 to 5 to 5 to 10. And the Olin's Golem from 4 to 5 to 10 to 20. I think this is actually a pretty decent change in trash loot. Obviously, this one right here is the mini mobs that spawn around the boss. Nothing too crazy there, an extra one possibility. But the golem arm and the golem itself, that's actually pretty big changes that basically went up by double. Now we have, with the above changes to the loot, we're changing Aegis as well. Now this is the only thing that I think could be a bit iffy. It still won't be terrible though. They're actually increasing the Aegis fever used when killing certain mobs. And then the amount of Aegis fever when you're killing the main golem from 35 to 120. Now this spot, you could do like a whole hour here and only spend around like 11 to 12k Aegis, depending on your group. Obviously, it could be a little bit more if your group is really good, or a little bit less if your group isn't as good. I still think it's actually going to be a pretty decent spot for Aegis. I'm thinking around 20 to 25k an hour. I'll have to do some testing. Like I said, I'm planning to make videos on all of these spots when I get around to it, but I wanted to put out this like precursor video just to go through all of the changes themselves. Next up, we have Dekia Olins. Increased the junk loot from the left arm from 1 to 3 to 5 to 15. And then they changed the Aegis Fever again. I'm not actually sure if you use Aegis Fever at Dekia Olins to begin with because I've never actually farmed there. But yeah, so they changed it to 70 to 90. And then they changed it so when defeating the and they also changed it so it does not apply with the golem or the golem's left arm. So it probably seems like Aegis there is not going to be very great. And then they also increase the Deboreka earring and drop rate from the mobs there as well. Next up, we have Ash Forest. Now, I know this is the one that a lot of people are excited about because with the Deboreka accessories, the necklace is like the main one that people go for. So let's just go through this real quick. They have the AP gain and the HP gain. It does seem like very static throughout all of these. It seems to be 830 AP and then the 27% HP, which makes me think, like I said before, it's probably not going to change much in damage. It's probably going to be about the same. But we get the junk loot obtained from Volkers and Varnas. from 3 to 5 to 4 to 5, so 1 extra there, not too bad. And then Gyra's 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, also not bad, just up by 1. And then we have the probability of the Deboreka earrings going up to 1.25, 1.5, and 2.5. That should help people get the necklace a lot more efficiently, because before it was very bad. Sometimes you get one necklace every 15 hours and then a few specters every like 2 to 3 hours. Hopefully this makes it so since there's no more specters in the game, you'll probably be getting a Deboreka neck every like 2.5 hours is my guess. But like I said, we'll have to do some actual research on that when we get the time. So next up is Gyfin Rajya Temple. Now this is one of the ones I actually heard about from Korea, but let's go through this real quick. So we have the 830 AP, and then they only increase it by 6%. I did do a few minutes here just to see if it actually made a difference, and to me it didn't seem like it was that big of a difference. If anything, I killed the mobs like a second or two faster, but it wasn't anything crazy. But I do play not the best class right now for PvE, so maybe that looks a bit different for a better class. And then we have the increase the junk of the mobs. We have the Gyfin Rajya Flaming, Guard, and Crusher. And then the Despair, Gyfin Rajya Decimators. This is basically the main 3 bosses, the big guys, and then also the event that spawns a bunch of the little mobs. 2 to 5 to 10 to 15. That is actually pretty nice. And then we have the Butcher, which is the one that gives you the damage buff. Goes from 20 to 30 to 50 to 100. Now, I do actually have some numbers. They aren't super accurate, I would say. I just seen them on Korean streams of people getting like 30 to 35k trash. Now up from like 20 to 25k. I don't know if that's completely accurate or not. Like I said, I'm gonna do some testing on it, but I could see people getting 30k at least with these changes, because it is actually a pretty substantial change. Next up, we have the improbability of Crocodile Origin Stones. They increase for both of the mobs. That's not crazy because Crocodile Origin Stones are honestly in abundance these days. They don't really sell for much, but they're still a nice little cash to do at the end of a grind session. And then we have the change the Aegir Sphere, so no longer applies to the Butcher. I don't think many people were using Aegir Sphere anyway, so that's not that big of a deal. Next up is City of the Dead. Now I don't actually know much about this spot because I haven't really gone here too much. Increase the number of junk loot obtained when defeating the below mobs. Right there, I'm guessing that's basically all of the mobs possible in the area to kill. 1 to 3 to 2 to 3, so you just get a base increase of 1. And then the Creed Knight, which is like the main mob in the area. I think that's the one that spawns during the event. I could be wrong about that. Like I said, I haven't grinded here much. Is 80 to 100 to 100 to 200, also a pretty nice increase. Still not going to be like a insane spot or insane increase in the spot, but still pretty decent. Next up is Darkseeker Retreat. Now this is the new zone that was just added, and what they did was increase EXP when defeating the below monsters by ×3 for Vengeful Darkseeker, ×6 for Punitive, and ×9 for Mournful Darkseeker and Eternal Darkseeker. Exclude the corrupt monsters that appear when you get the event, basically. So we'll have to test this out and see if the XP is actually good here. I would love for the XP to actually be comparable or better than Gyfin, because right now Gyfin's the best grinding spot for XP. And if we had a later game spot for XP, that would be really cool. And then last but not least, we have Dehkia Cyclops Land. No one really does this spot because it's just not great, but let's see if these changes will make a difference. We have the number of junk loot obtained from 1 to 3 to 2 to 3 on the baby gargoyles. He spawns like 9 or 10 of them every single time you pull the Cyclops or something like that. I did the spot a little bit, but I didn't do it for a long time because the spot's just not really that fun to grind. So a little bit of increase there, nothing crazy. And then they increase the probability of obtaining Dawn Earrings. Like I said, we'll have to see how that works out in the end, because if the drop rate's actually good enough to where you're getting a substantial amount of Dawn Earrings, this spot actually might be pretty good, because Dawn Earrings are at like 250 to 300 mil usually. I know they've been dropping recently, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, that's basically it for all of the changes to the monster zones. Keep an eye out for the videos I'm going to be doing on each of these spots to kind of give a baseline of what loot you should be getting, and the belt drop rates along with the neck drop rates and the earring drop rates if I can find a group for Dehkia Olins. But yeah, if you guys did like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.